A warm good evening to everybody and a heartfelt welcome to today's discussion organized by Talking Films Online. My name is Neha KP and I am your host for today's session. TFO began its journey with Professor Nikhila and Dr. Geeta Vishwanath in June 2020 during the lockdown. Over the years, TFO has metamorphosized from a spontaneous idea into an expanding community of cinephiles encompassing scholars, researchers, students, professors, filmmakers, and anybody passionate about cinema. We are delighted to have sustained this forum thanks to you, our dedicated participants, who gather every Saturday at 9 p.m. as per Indian Standard Time on Zoom to talk about cinema. It has been TFO's practice to invite individuals to select and lead discussions on chosen films, which participants are free to watch at their own time and place. TFO has the pleasure of hosting eminent filmmakers, professors, scholars, cinematographers, and editors like Aparna Sen, Amol Palekar, Girish Kasaravalli, and Adur Gopalakrishnan. Our journey has also included film festivals such as South Asian, East European, Iranian, Women Cinema, among others. Every June, TFO hosts a smartphone short filmmaking contest for students and organizes a lecture series in university departments to commemorate its anniversary. Last September, we organized our first offline event, an international seminar on Indian cinema in the digital era, in collaboration with FCT Baroda. This year, we also organized our second international conference in hybrid mode, titled Screen to Street, Decoding.
What happened to Sneha?
I think Sneha got disconnected. I am connecting myself.
Okay, why don't you continue, Tanmay?
Hello.
Yeah, okay, Sneha, are you there? Okay, please continue, Sneha. Sneha, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Please continue.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
For tonight's discussion, we will focus on the Marathi film ASHA, directed by Deepak Patil. To initiate discussion on the film, we have Suchita Krishnaprasad, joined by the producer of the film, Daivata Patil. It is my great pleasure to introduce them. Daivata Patil is a communication strategist, educator, film producer, TEDx speaker, and gender activist. She has 2 decades of media experience as a media educator, researcher, and practitioner. As a passionate storyteller, she is associated with Onjal Arts Productions since 2016 as creative producer and had produced commercials and 2 Marathi feature films. Her first film, Barayan, was amongst the top 10 hits of 2018 list of Times of India and was selected as the opening film in the Third Eye Asian Film Festival. Her second feature film, Asha, is focused on the theme of women empowerment, particularly reproductive rights of pregnant women. This film received 4 awards at the 61st Government of Maharashtra Film Awards. She was invited at the United Nations Women New York headquarters as a delegate speaker in 2024 and 2025. She was awarded by the prestigious Women Economic Forum for her contribution in the area of women empowerment. She co-founded DHUP Foundation, which is an NGO working for the empowerment of women and girl child. She is the India Director of Strategy and Planning at Global 100 Media Arts and Communication Chair, and also the Maharashtra State President, Women's Indian Chamber of Commerce, an industry for their Information and Broadcasting Council. She is Joint Secretary of Mumbai Chapter, Public Relations Society of India, a scholarly public speaker who is invited by both industry and academia and has delivered more than 500 talks. She is a listed speaker at official website of International Women's Day and Power Women Speakers Directory. She is also an internationally published researcher and has been invited as the editorial board member and reviewer on reputed research journals from India, UK, and USA, including the prestigious Sage, Emerald, and Taylor and Francis Publishing. Her research interests include visual media, language studies, digital media, and gender studies. She also plays the role of the doctor in the film. Next, we have Dr. Suchita Krishnaprasad, retired from Elphinstone College as the head Department of Economics after serving for 35 years. She is a life member of Indian Society of Labour Economics and has presented and published several research papers at various annual conferences held by the society. besides a similar contribution in various international.
Oh Lord. Sneha, you can switch off your video if there is a problem with your connectivity.
Sorry, ma'am. I hope I'm
Switch
all
off your,
audible.
yeah, switch off your video.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, continue.
Yes, ma'am. The,
You have muted yourself. Please unmute. Sneha.
hello, ma'am.
Yes, please. Don't mute yourself. Only switch off your video.
Yes, ma'am. I think it's a small net issue. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Continue.
Dr. Suchita Krishnaprasad has worked as a resource person during the training programs aiming at empowering trade union leadership. These were jointly organized by Ambedkar Institute of Labour Studies, Bombay, and Friedrich Ebert Steventon, New Delhi. She has been a resource person for webinars organized by TISS Mumbai and IMPRI New Delhi. She worked on an Asia-level project for FES titled Rebuilding Beyond Exploitation. She has been a consultant and an external collaborator for 3 ILO projects. Her project titled From Toddlers to Enablers, Mobilizing Beneficiaries of Community Health Service Providers in Maharashtra to lobby for the rights of ASHA and Anganwadi workers, was sponsored by it culminated in a platform. She was with MSW course in Nirmala Niketan, Mumbai. She's a guest faculty at CBS, University of Mumbai. She's also a professor at the think tank IMPRI New Delhi. We are really glad to have you both as guests for today and so for the thoughtful discussion. So, Suchi ma'am, if you may start the discussion.
Yes, thank you very much, Sneha. You did that job very well, despite the technical glitches. And am I audible, Geeta, Sneha?
Yes, you are. Please
Yes.
go ahead.
So thank you so much, Geeta, for this honor. And I have joined your TFO programs very early during the pandemic, which brought many like-minded people together, and so many such platforms came up. But the test of sincerity is in making it consistent and sustainable and bringing it into, hybrid mode, and to kind of just listen to the map, the way that you have gone. It really makes me very proud to have you as a friend. And your TFO has taken note of old classics and new stories, regional cinema, and if I just listen to the names of people who have come here, it just makes me, what shall I say, quite nervous rather to be here. But I'm again truly honored to be here today. So we are here to discuss a recent Marathi movie, ASHA, which was released in theatre on 19th December 2025. It appeared in OTT on the 13th of February. I'm sure many of us have already watched it on Amazon Prime or through the link that was shared on the TFO WhatsApp group. The duration of the film is 2 hours and 4 minutes, and going by the blurb on the OTT platform, it is a story of Malati, an ASHA worker who is determined to challenge patriarchy and risks everything when a community needs her. Joined by an elderly boss lady, a drunk troublemaker, and a clueless friend, she navigates a chaotic mission that proves real heroes can come from most ordinary places. Rinku Rajguru, says the OTT platform, shines in this heartfelt tale of unity, courage, and sisterhood. Now, before moving any further, let me confess that I'm neither a film critic, nor have I dabbled in any aspect of filmmaking, and therefore I will refrain from making comments on finer cinematic aspects of this movie, such as the art direction or cinematography and so on. At best, I can roughly speak about the casting or songs and music and rest of it. Perhaps my sole qualification to be here to discuss this very special movie is that I have associated myself with ICDS, that is Integrated Child Development Scheme workers, which includes both ASHA and Anganwadi workers, for nearly a decade now. And so I'm tempted to share a brief background of ICDS workers, if you don't mind, though I understand that we should be largely focusing on the movie on this platform. So who are the ASHAs? ASHAs, we know, are the accredited social health activists. This scheme, which was brought in the year 2005 under the National Rural Health Mission. Of course, the Anganwadi workers are more senior in terms of years. It came up in Anganwadi scheme was started sometime in 1970s. Both these ASHAs and Anganwadis have some common features. They both look after health and nutritional needs of people in the underprivileged sections of the society. And interestingly, they hail from the same society, same community that they serve. The idea behind it being making their own people, empowering the same women from the same community to start serving their own community so that they're more accepted and well received by their community. Often they also live in the same basti. Once recruited, they go through some training before joining as volunteers or scheme workers. And I urge you to remember these words, volunteers or scheme workers. Both these workers have to be ready for any additional tasks that the governments may decide to hand over to them within the time frame that the government asks them to do. And this includes both the central government and the state government because their honorarium and not the wage is received from both these levels. While Anganwadi workers are mandated to update health records of women and children, provide nutrition, and also acquaint the toddlers with the first three R's, namely reading, writing, and arithmetic, ASHAs work as a critical link between the health care delivery system and the community at large. A detailed list of tasks can be seen on the internet, and therefore I will not bother you with that. But I simply summarize a few over here so that we may appreciate the film better. ASHAs are often the first point of contact in rural healthcare. They juggle with maternal and child health, immunization, TB monitoring, non-communicable disease surveys, record keeping, which includes both online and offline, and countless other tasks. This includes providing information to the community on nutrition, basic sanitation, hygienic practices, use of healthcare services around, healthy living. They also counsel women and families on birth preparedness, safe delivery, breastfeeding, and complementary feeding, immunization, reproductive tract infection or sexually transmitted infection, and how to take care of young children who come up in such surroundings. They also accompany pregnant women or children who require treatment, and they facilitate their admission in pre-identified healthcare facility, maybe primary healthcare center or a government hospital nearby, and so on. Besides all this, they are the keepers of essential health products for minor ailments such as diarrhea, fever, childhood illness, and first aid. Besides this, they are also expected, and now I want you to pay attention to this, they are also expected to develop a comprehensive village health plan along with the village community. Finally, ASHAs are also expected to assist and mobilize community for action against gender-based violence. These two are prophetic functions, preparing a comprehensive health plan and making the society aware and creating action against gender-based violence. Of course, ASHAs work in close coordination and guidance with the Anganwadi workers and the ANMs or the auxiliary nurse midwives in fulfilling these objectives. Most of this information is available on the internet, and the NHRM, the National Rural Health Mission, says that their work hours are flexible, which is 2 to 3 hours each day. I've just listed out few of their tasks, and you can try and imagine how they could be completed in 2 to 3 hours every day. And the website says the state governments are empowered to determine their tasks and rewards. Remember, the word is empowered and not obligated. So there are certain subtle connotations here. Note that they have to keep updating the records of health and ailments of people in their community, and also constantly interact with them, communicate with them regarding issues related to health, nutrition, and be available when they need to go to hospitals and get admitted. So there are clerical abilities of maintaining records and updating records, which they need to have. And they also need to be emotionally very strong to take care of the, sick people, or face the witness the gender violence and try to stop it, and so on and so forth. So it's a very exhausting work. Also, their work consists of routine tasks and also the ability to innovate. Remember, they are supposed to make a comprehensive health plan for the village. So they also need to be innovative, social innovators they are, and they are expected to bring societal change towards gender-just society. And for all this, they earn anything between 6,400 rupees to 13,000 rupees. And this gap exists because each state may reward them differently. So there is a certain amount which they get from the center, and from the states they may get different amounts. In any case, this is less than the minimum wage. And this also is usually delayed so that they have to borrow to fulfill their routine tasks. They don't earn even wages and can't ask for bonus because they are voluntary workers or scheme workers. And this has been the real bane of all the scheme workers. Think about this. When all of us were asked to stay at home and stay safe during the lockdown, both ASHAs and Anganwadi workers were asked to compulsorily be present on duty, lest their honorarium would be cut. It's easy to see a contradiction here. Can you compel a volunteer to work? Conversely, if you can compel someone to work, can you call that person a volunteer? And if you can cut the remuneration, would you call it a wage or an honorarium? And if somebody is earning a wage, will that person be a worker or a volunteer? Well, one finds many such riddles when one learns the terms of employment of the scheme workers. All this has resulted in a number of protests. And both ASHAs and Anganwadi workers have had a long history of protests. And whatever they have gained today in terms of better honorarium or other benefits has been a result of a bitter and long struggle, which means that they have strong unions. An interesting fact about both ASHAs and Anganwadi workers is the extent of their unionization, which is roughly 80 to 90%. Contrast this with the decline in the union density all over the world, especially since the liberalization. And one feels like one is in another world. Again, while most unions have poor representation from women, these unions have 100% women membership. Also, there are women in the leadership positions in these unions. The only odd thing, of course, is that they are still not workers. Have these Dickensian conditions of work and living of working and living demoralize these women? Well, far from it. Most studies note a very high level of motivation among these women, and this makes this workforce very unique. Most of them are very proud of their contribution to the society, and their job has won them affection and respect in their community. Many of the Anganwadi workers, in fact, in the past, have won their Zilla Parishad elections because they're so close to the community and they have won the trust of their people in the community. I searched the internet while preparing for today's event, and I found so many heartwarming stories about ASHA workers. Here is one of them brought out by The Hindu. It's about Deepak Patil, an ASHA worker from Kolhapur, who brought a 52-year-old Hasina Attar back to life. In 2019, Attar lost her entire family within 1 year, and she sank into depression. Patil and two of her other colleagues, trained in mental health awareness, stepped in. They conversed with Attar, visited her regularly and cleaned her home, brought food, and ensured she took her medicines on time. Attar has regained her health and independence to a great extent, thanks to these three ASHA workers who went well beyond the call of their duty. Coming to the movie ASHA. This movie ASHA tells one such story set in rural Maharashtra. The story covers the battle encountered by Malati, an ASHA worker, with her family and village people while performing what she calls her duties sincerely. I'm only doing my duty. She says this sentence at least 6 times. The movie depicts her as a new bride, and her husband dotes on her. Fortunately, he's also proud of her work, and he doesn't hide his admiration towards her. The mother-in-law, of course, is not so comfortable and is waiting to see Malati go the family way, because that would alone curb her independent spirit. Ashas, of course, have multiple jobs, as we have just discussed, and Malati is seen receiving her training, giving training to the school girls about menstrual hygiene. She carries her work home when she has to update the records, which means those 2 and 3 hours are not sufficient. She seems to regularly borrow money from a petty grocer, which underlines poor and delayed remuneration. What the script does not cover is the role of unions or the street protests, which are ubiquitous in case of both ASHAs and Anganwadi workers. One story takes the center stage as the movie goes on, and the film revolves around it for the most part. It's about a woman living in a rather orthodox family. The men in this family are fiercely desperate for a male child after 2 daughters. Curiously, they share an odd belief that baby girls are born in hospitals and boys get delivered only at home through midwives. Malti tries to negotiate but fails to convince the men otherwise. She needs allies now to get the lady escape the house for the medical checkup to start with, and then to get her to deliver at the hospital. Here she relies on her friend, an elderly lady from the village, and an absurd drunkard who agrees to transport her to the hospital for the delivery. And there's a bit of a drama here. Malati's friend agrees to act as an imposter in smuggling the pregnant woman in and out of the house. So the medical checkup gets done. A lady nurse is arranged then to routinely monitor the health of the pregnant lady and to also provide her supplements. The movie arrives at a climax when the doctor signals the need for an emergency intervention in the night. It happens to be a day also when a puja is being performed in Malati's house to invoke Devi's grace to bless Malati with a baby soon. The puja requires that Malati remains present in the house through the rituals at night. But it is a critical time for a patient as well. After some deliberation, Malati decides to walk out of the puja. And that shocks the family and the relatives, including her husband, who has been so protective and supportive of her. She then addresses the people gathered for the puja and shares her conviction that the Devi would also want her to help the male child, the new child being born, waiting to be born. The story ends happily because finally a male child is born. Malati's mother-in-law too is convinced about the worth of Malati's work as an ASHA worker. The drunk driver is also more humanized by this entire experience. As the first movie of its kind, the movie Asha deserves accolades. And let's give a standing ovation to the team for daring to take this project up. There have been movies on professions in social sector. I can think of Imtihan or To Serve With Love. Okay, so Imtihan, of course, was about a professor who has to wade through bitter politics in his bid to transform lumpen elements in the student community. And so one can probably think of many such films. But this is the first movie across the world that focuses on the life of a zealous community health worker who doesn't give up her mission despite the personal and social constraints. Having said that, let's look at what doesn't come across as real or very convincing in the movie. The first thing that hit me is a rather spacious residence of Malati. Given that Ashas live in the same basti as they serve, the house looks rather unrealistically luxurious. Of course, some Anganwadi workers and Ashas may enjoy better living conditions, but my experience tells me that that usually happens when their children start doing better in life. It is difficult to believe that Malati's husband and father-in-law are paid workers in a wood-cutting shed, or what is called as wakar in Marathi, going by the house in which they live, which look like a small mansion or a vada. Also, the way the escapes of a heavily pregnant woman are handled seem to tear the tale away from reality. The manner in which she is transported to the hospital, driven in a rickety van at night by a drunken driver on unlit and rough roads, is equally, if not more, unrealistic. Of course, the work of Ashas is very layered, and it is not possible to cover all of its aspects. But even when the movie begins to center around the helpless pregnant woman, it is surprising to see the team Malati chooses for this mission entirely on her own. The elderly woman, the hopeless drunkard, besides a trusted friend from her own cadre, and this choice ignores the hierarchy and the answerability to a system. Ashas usually work in coordination with Anganwadi workers, and perhaps the script could have done well to explore this link at this stage. The script has also avoided the role of unions and any discussion on why they are not workers, why they are paid so little, and the extent of cooperation or otherwise they get from the Gram Sabha, etc. A few scenes are evocative though, such as Malati removing the wood load tied to a neck of a cow, which is a symbolic act of freeing herself. Or Malati shrugging off her frustration while listening to a motivational talk aired on radio at a remote tea stall, etc. But then her address to the family and the village folks at the climax when she leaves the puja to attend to the patient could have been more convincing. And yet, it is a story that needed to be told. Recently, in some regions, ASHAs have taken the duty of mental health gatekeepers. Nimhans from Bangalore has trained over 1,000 ASHAs and Anganwadi workers to raise suicide awareness, identify people at risk, and reduce the access of means like pesticides and alcohol, and then link them with mental health care options. Dr. Ashish Cherian from Nimhan says we have already identified 800 cases of attempted suicide, mainly through ASHA workers. So, keeping these angels overburdened and underpaid is harmful for our development. Maybe some of these issues can be covered in case there are sequels to ASHA. I mean, if the producers are planning any sequels, there can be many, I'm sure. Finally, in today's times when movies glorifying wars, hatred, and the so called alpha males pull record audiences and make crores of rupees at the box office, it certainly takes courage to tell a tale of nurturing and hope and Asha. Thank you so much, and that's all I would have liked to say. Coming to the casting, I think the casting of Rinku is really brilliant. Her husband, and of course, the senior actress Usha Naik has done a wonderful job as a old lady from the village who kind of has the ability to convince and somehow persist on people's minds and change their plans and manipulate their minds and so on. Songs are good, and especially the last song that you end with, it's very spirited and makes you stand up for Asha even more. With these words, I close my comments and discussion on Asha.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for such a wonderful and informative discussion from the whole team of TFO. Now the dais is open for everyone, and I request everyone to please come up with your questions or comments on this film, if you have any. Kitama?
Daivata, would you like to speak?
Before we open the forum, the idea behind this film, as a filmmaker, or rather as a social activist, more and less of a filmmaker, I always believed that cinema is a powerful medium of social change and cultural activism. And Marathi cinema, for some reason, has always been a medium of social responsibility and not just entertainment. And it's not just about Asha, but other films also. You see that Marathi cinema always brings in some or the other social issue that, where audiovisual mediums are used to communicate and challenge the existing societal norms. Well, Asha, I'm thankful that Suchita ma'am very well, spoke about the film and gave her review and her feedback, first impression. Uh, Asha, yes, it is a bridge between awareness and action. The Asha workers, which are portrayed in the film, are not just as heroes or victims, but we've tried to make them as complex individuals, who are navigating through their family, faith, fear, and responsibility. More than the cadre and the union aspect of it, we were just trying to bring in the personal and individual aspect of Asha workers. So that was the central idea behind, bringing their stories on the mainstream. I mean, their quiet resistance in daily life or everyday courage that they are doing, that can be through the small acts of, borrowing money or repaying them, or, having, taking a stand to fight for someone in spite of them being vulnerable in the system. That needs a lot of courage, and that has been the emotional core of the narrative, while we were making this film. Of course, the film is also a comment on a particular geographical, region, and it talks about the cultural nuances of that place, which is north of Maharashtra, a rarely explored culture and geography on in Marathi cinema also. In most of the Marathi films that you see is Paschim Maharashtra, Vidarbha or Konkan. So this is north of Maharashtra, which is a not very explored area. And of course, even the language of the cinema has that tone and words peculiar to that region. And more than the ASHA workers, I think the whole idea was that we open a global conversation, or we become part of the global conversation of women's bodily autonomy and empowerment and her reproductive rights. So it was our intention to create a work that is intimate, authentic, or resonant. Uh, yeah, that's it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Daivata. Actually, I also liked the way you integrated the personal life of the character with her work. So that was something very interesting, and also the way uh, in which work gives meaning to Malti's life. That I thought was very well brought out. But at the same time, the framing of labor of this ASHA worker as service to the nation rather than um, as work for which she is entitled to receive, proper wages, timely wages, and all of that. That I found somewhat problematic, and I think Suchita has spoken far more eloquently than I have about this. So, this is what I would have to say about the film. So, it's someone else would like to come in with their comments, questions.
One more thing that
Yeah.
I'd like to add is whenever or for that matter, when I also read about Aisha in newspaper, it was always through the unions and their passion being what they want from the government and all of that. So our first impression of Asha, rather most of the urban people in Mumbai, Pune who know of Asha is through newspapers and their struggle and the strikes. So we have deliberately kept the union aspect out of it because we did not wanted the focus to be to that. It was intentionally that we wanted her human face to come out and what she is doing at a very individual level. So, and of course, we were in touch with a lot of unions. In fact, these unions have helped us to
Yeah.
reach out to and Maharashtra. Mr. Raju from IDA has been very, very supportive throughout this journey.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that Suchita spoke about the wages and the worker aspect because while we were making this film, we interacted with unions, we interacted with the ASHA workers, and I was very surprised by their dedication to the work in spite of getting such meager, I would say, salaries or wages also. It is just on a medium that they are getting. And still, they had so much of dedication to their work. They thought that this is a human service they are doing, and come what may, they will have to, be available. In fact, I would say 70% of a film is based on real life stories and incidents. So there was one such struggle where Asha, real life Malti, and real life Malti, so in Dhule district, there was this Malti who tried to save a woman after 48 hours of struggle. So the film is loosely based on her efforts. Regarding the house that you mentioned, these are 150 to 100-year-old vadas, wooden vadas, in north of Maharashtra. It's a small village. And go to that place, most of the people staying there are from middle and lower middle class. But they are like vadas. So these are their ancestral homes, which are very poorly maintained. If there's rain, then there's I mean, all of that is there. And they don't have any other house, so they are staying there. So these houses are in the dilapidated states. So the location where we shot is the actual location, and there's actually one Asha stays in one of such wardas. And we visited other places over there also. The house looks like a mansion, but the it is almost in a dilapidated state. So then we wanted to bring in that aspect also, that okay, this looks like a very luxury life from outside, but what is within the family is far different reality than what people perceive from outside. So we intentionally kept the house like that, rather than bringing them in a jhoti or a basti.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, Suchita ma'am, do you have anything to add on?
See, I would just bring the attention of the audience to one more fact about community health workers. So there is a study by World Bank along with WHO, which says, of course, that is the community health workers in African region, which says that $1 of investment in community health yields a return of $10. Imagine, and that's 1,000% return, and we don't give them enough, and therefore somehow I still feel that any discussion, any thought about ASHA or Anganwadi or any other scheme workers would have to bring in the element of what they're contributing, and as she said, as Professor Daivata said, that all these things do not somehow erode their morale, which is a stupendous thing. I mean, unbelievable it is. And I think I just narrated one story which the Hindu has brought in. A mentally, a depressed woman brought out of her depression by ASHA, which is not entirely her, duty. She is supposed to accompany people to hospitals and so on. So there are, and therefore, hearty congratulations to Daivata for bringing this out, bringing this out. I hope she continues to do this kind of work later, and hope to see you in person sooner than later, Daivata.
Yeah, one aspect, I said that I'm more of a social activist than a filmmaker. I was in contact with a lot of policy level people and related people to healthcare and ASHA scheme. I was able to get in touch with ASHA Excellence Center in Mumbai. And while I was interacting, I did push my bit that their work needs to be recognized and all of that. One of the problems that ASHA workers shared with me while we were doing research was when they accompany maternal pregnant women to hospital, they are generally off times, and they have to travel with the pregnant women to the next district and hospital. So, and when the women is in labor, the labor can be up to 24 hours also. So these Ashas don't have any place to sit. They are on the streets, inside the hospital, sometimes without food and water, and like that. So I told that if we create a secure space for Asha workers only.
So sorry to interrupt, Devata, but your voice is breaking. Maybe you could switch off your video.
Yeah, is it better now?
Yeah, much better. Thank you.
So I don't know from what point you heard, but as part of my film journey, I was fortunate to get in touch with ASHA Excellence Center, and I did talk about the plight of ASHA workers to them, and I told them that one of the problems which ASHAs shared with me was they don't have a secured space where they can sit with with safely and without any inhibition in their mind. because whenever they are accompanying a pregnant woman for the delivery, these places are far off from their villages, and sometimes they have to, the women is in labor for 12 hours to 24 hours, or sometimes more than that, and until they she hands over the patient safely to the family, she doesn't leave. So at that time, I propose that if we can create a safe space for them. And I'm fortunate that pink room concept is taken over by ASHA Excellence Center at a big, primitive level. I think they're establishing some 30 ASHA pink rooms, where interior places where there's more challenge. Women, ASHAs who will be accompanying these women will get a safe place to sit and lie down and all of that. So I think that is a huge takeaway for me at an individual level.
Oh, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Suchita ma'am. Thank you, Daivata ma'am, for your valuable discussion. Now, may I ask others to please switch on their mic and come up with their question or comment if you have any. Do we have any comment on this one, or do we have any more thought-provoking take on this ongoing discussion? Sridhar sir, you have anything to add?
Thank you. No, nothing from.
Okay, Madhurima ma'am, you have anything to add to this ongoing discussion?
Nothing new to it. It was an interesting discussion, and thank you for recommending the film.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there anyone else who wants to add anything to this discussion? Any new take or any new comment?
Can I?
Yeah,
in?
please, Ananya, please.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, Ananya, you can.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Foremost, I must thank Suchita ma'am and Patil ma'am for being to meet us over this platform, and also for the movie that you suggested, which has brought up really crucial topics concerning a few areas which really draw my interest. I have been quite again provided the technical glitches at my end as well. I've just been unable to completely grasp the entirety of the movie, but the subjects which you've brought up from the movie, they have simply invited more and more of my scholarship and to think deeper about these different problems. So the question I will raise is more as if it's just out of my curiosity to know more about something you said as the comprehensive plan for the health of the people in the village. So can you speak a little bit more about this plan and the kind of facets or something, and also in case you had to do the plan with them or anything, whatever might have been involved in the process, can you share your experience and also the difficulties which you might have encountered?
Thank you for that very important question, Ananya. But point is, when I was narrating the list of jobs, these are two jobs like creating an environment for a gender just society in the villages and creating a comprehensive health plan. Now, these certainly are the things which maybe a bureaucrat can do, right? A bureaucrat can better do it because he or she is trained to come together with and knows the government machinery and so on and so forth. But maybe at the ground level, ASHA or Anganwadi can collaborate with the village committee, as it says, Village Health and Nutrition Committee. It is called VH and I think NC and so on. Okay, so that it's a Gram Sabha. So creating a participative decision making is what should underline that health plan. I'm not aware of any ASHA worker. I think Daivata ma'am can tell us, enlighten more about this. I just went through the website and tried to find out what is expected of them. And, apart from the routine tasks, which are again endless, there are these two tasks which are the tasks of leaders, which is creating a comprehensive health plan, number one, and preventing offenses against, gender injustice. Okay. So how do they do it? Now, we had a story of coming to the gender just society part of it. We had a lady called, I think from Rajasthan, a health worker, rural development worker, on whom the Bhauri Devi, okay, who really met with a very major humiliation and court cases and so on which a movie Bawandar was based. So how do we don't empower them, we don't create an institutional setup behind them to enable them to complete these tasks or fulfill these tasks appropriately. How do we just say it in on our website that these are the things that are expected? That is even my that intrigues me as well, Ananya. So Daivata, would you know of any ASHA worker who has come up with a comprehensive health plan for the village, for example?
No, nothing that I'm aware of, because these
Yeah,
are 12th graders, and they contribute by giving opinion, but I doubt they are equipped enough to come up with a comprehensive health plan. I
exactly.
am aware that they are tasked with 56 key indicators of health,
Yeah,
and they are the mediator between the grassroots patient and the state health. So
correct.
their job is to carry the health information. Majorly preventive healthcare is something which they focus on, and maternal healthcare. Rather, in 2006, when this ASHA scheme was formally institutionalized, the whole idea was it was an extension of Jacha Bacha Suraksha, which
Right.
was also, I mean, before 10 years, Dr. Abhay Bang was one of the
Mm.
key person behind this whole thing. So for almost 10 years, in an unorganized manner, it was working, and then formally it took shape in 2006 as ASHA scheme, which is accredited social health activist. And then slowly, I mean, the whole idea was about maternal health care and infant mortality, rate and all. Slowly, their work pressure increased, and now for everything, because they are the encyclopedia of rural healthcare systems and what.
Exactly, 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 exactly.
They
And
are
therefore,
available.
since they are, I'm sorry, so since they
Yeah.
are so people oriented and they have connections with almost everybody in their community, they are also loaded with additional tasks when there are elections, if the government wants any popular schemes to be implemented. So anything and everything comes on these two cadres of workers, ASHA and Anganwadi. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, no. In fact, I was, sharing these with the ministries also. I was fortunate to have this discussion with the ministries. In fact, the State Health Ministry, Meghnatai Bordikar, our meeting is due. She has called us for a brief discussion. She had shown this film in her entire district to more than 4,000, 5,000 women, including ASHA workers.
That's
We've
great.
got Yeah, we've got a call from her office. She spoke to us. Even the state minister called us and congratulated us. But then, yeah, I did not wanted it to be only at the film level and take all the congratulations. So I took that as an opportunity, and I said that, look, this is what we have found across. I'm not a health expert, but at least at the human level, what I see, and these are the possible logical solutions I can think of. So, for example, Asha said that sari is made compulsory, the pink uniform. So, when we shot this film, there was no fixed uniform. So, therefore, our Asha is in blue uniform. But now, I think 6, 8 months back,
Yes.
pink uniform is made compulsory for everyone. Now, when uniform is fine, uniform color is fine, but they said sari. Now, people, ASHA workers working in remote areas, especially who are, riding a cycle and all, bicycle sari becomes problematic. So they were requesting for a Punjabi suit also option, and apparently there was not open discussion, no open discussion on that. So one of the demands by union was also that कि Punjabi dress भी उनको permit कर दो करके. So I in my informal conversation I said कि sir Punjabi dress भी तो भारतीय है ना, तो आप को क्या दिक्कत है उसको करने के लिए ना, like that. So those kind of I think unions have a very negative way of being interpreted. Like the ministry would always not want to have this conversation with union. And I would also say that my experience with some of the unions was also not good. They have their own personal agendas, and they misguide ASHA workers a lot for their own personal agendas. So that has also been, so I'm not saying that all unions are good, but few people in the union are good, but union as a whole has its own agenda, which I also find problematic. So these are some, my own insights as a completely neutral person, as an outsider. So yeah, it was quite an insightful journey for me.
Thank you, ma'am. Ananya, do you have any more question?
I just got one more question, but I think I'll just allow room for other people now. I can come in again.
Okay. Fabian, ma'am, you have any comment or any question on this one? Do we have any more question on this film or any comment, any new take on this ongoing discussion?
Fabian, would you like to speak? Fabian? Fabian is also a filmmaker from Paris.
Oh, lovely. I think we'll take Ananya's We'll take Ananya's question.
Ananya, you can come forward with your question, I think.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Am I audible?
Yes, Ananya.
Okay, all right. So my next question that I just kind of came upon listening to both of you, and thanks to both of you for elaborating on my question and elucidating and bringing so much to the answer. I really appreciate that by heart. So my next question is based on what I heard Suchita ma'am say about the Gram Sabha. The Gram Sabha came to my notice, and Patil ma'am's mention of the agenda. So I'm just curious again. I haven't really, I haven't drawn any of my personal analyses of the movie surrounding this periphery, which is politics. So I will like both of your views, Suchita ma'am and Daivata ma'am, if you can reflect on any political setback, any political periphery you can somehow reflect upon, considering the movie, whilst the composition of the movie, or regarding the story, or anything that might have been political.
Well, personally, I think this question can be better handled by Daivata, because she's the one who went through this, and she would be aware of any political constraints if she met through. Okay, but what I feel is that, as she has explained herself before, a couple of questions before, that she wanted it to be a personal story and an emotional journey of a woman who wanted certain things, wanted gender equality or justice, or not equality, but maybe justice, and so on. So, and she happens to be an ASHA. Probably, even if she was not an ASHA worker, she would have just still, spoke that language. She would have still spoken that language. But being an ASHA enables her to kind of flow through her work, which defines her, to do what she anyway would have done as an individual. Um, yeah. So she wanted. I think Daivata made it clear that she wanted to keep it very personal and emotional journey of a woman of that kind, who is also an ASHA worker. Uh, so, Daivata, you think you came across any political constraints while picking up maybe, or did you have to maybe alter the script or dialogues or some such thing, considering the political milieu or constraints? Did you feel any such thing?
No, in fact, like I said, that it was never part of the original script. So, it was never, it never came on table that we will take this aspect or we will not take that aspect. The whole idea was when we were reading, newspapers about Ashas, uh, and the, very bizarre deliveries that happen. Some of it gets space in newspaper, where one of this northeast women, I came across the story where she carried the pregnant women on her back to the hospital, to a woman who was delivered in the rickshaw, and we are talking about Vasai, not very far off, 50-60 kilometers from Mumbai. So where she could not take her to the hospital, the delivery happened in the auto rickshaw. Or Palghar, where a pregnant woman, was carried in a bed sheet to the hospital. So it was very disturbing as a woman that in 2025 also, something which is as basic and required of delivering a baby uh, is a struggle. So what kind of development are we talking about? And I'm not very pessimistic, but I would say that whatever in maternal mortality rate has decreased in India, a lot of credit can be given to ASHA workers for that.
Sure,
We
sure.
started our journey with 300 deaths per 1 lakh delivery, and now we are at 97 deaths per 1 lakh delivery, which is a huge commendable journey. I'm not saying only Ashas, but Ashas were the first point of contact, and it is their honest and dedicated efforts which has brought down these rates. And of course, I would also talk about the infrastructural development and other things. But yeah, major credit goes to ASHA workers. So I think. More than the political space, it was a discussion on the social space of it, that how do you want your Asha to be, and how do you want this discussion of male child preference. So I remember one of these scenes where uh, Asha comes late. Malti comes home very late, around 7:30 after the sunset. And the neighborhood woman says, "Look at your daughter-in-law. She works so late in the night." And then this Malti says, "Ki, why me only? Why don't you take care of your son?" So the original dialogue, of course, by a male writer, was that, "Why don't you look at your daughter?" I said, "Ki, why a woman would blame another woman? Why can't it be a son?" So such small discussions have also happened. And in fact, the climax scene where we wanted the original script had girl child, that a girl is born, third girl is born. And I said, no, it can't be a girl child, it has to be a male child. And there was a huge discussion whether, why are we not having, we're talking about girl child empowerment. I said, no, we are also talking about breaking the superstition of having a male child in the hospital. So it's not about having a girl child, but breaking the myth of having a male child in the hospital. And therefore, it is important that we have a boy at the climax and not a girl. So like that. Also, if you look at a broad discussion, caregiving economy as such is a very neglected area in our society. So ashas are a part of this caregiving economy. So it's like the mother in the house who is a caregiver is never, her efforts are never acknowledged, or rather we never monetize her efforts. So it is with the same lens we are looking at ashas or any caregiving economy. So if at all all anything needs to be changed. It is the whole mindset of looking at the caregiving economy. And coming to the political, in my own personal experience, I never saw a lack of political will in not helping out ASHA workers. So wherever I met to any of the decision makers, I did not see that lack of will. If there were some institutional limitations which were stopping them, but political will lacking was not there. So I'll be honest with that. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. I think we are done today with our questions and comments. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining today's discussion. Now, on the verge of closing today's session, I want to convey my warm regards and deep appreciation to both Suchita ma'am and Daivata ma'am for making today's evening so deeply rooted in and enriching in our discussion of this grassroots politics about ASHA workers and about this film also. And I also thank my co-interns and Geeta ma'am and also Nikhila ma'am to make this community so running and effective. So until we meet again next Saturday, thank you and good night for today.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Daivata. You have joined us despite being unwell. That is so nice of